Hello, everyone. This is a quick one because we're coming to the end of the quarter. So I wanted to share with you what I walk through with my students on the Sales Operations Leadership Skill course. And that is the impact framework, the SOIT, the Sales Ops Effect Impact Framework. This is the Sales Ops Effect, where we strengthen our skills as strategic leaders to grow businesses with integrity. For those listening, you'll be able to see the steps listed down inside of the show notes. But for those watching, you'll be able to see the impact framework on the screen now. So there are three main sections inside it. It's insight, focus, and action. And what I do with this impact framework is I review my own assessment against it once a quarter to see where I need a bit of a tune-up. There's several reasons and several ways that I use this impact framework, but for the purposes of this conversation, this is what we're going to be talking about. It's where do you think you need improvement and where do you think you've done well over the quarter and you want to acknowledge that. There are three sections: insight, focus, and action. And within those three sections, there are three further sections, and that's where you would be rating yourself. So underneath insight, you have assess the situation, network with change makers, review success and learning. In the focus section, you have know the goal, make a path, take ownership. In the action section, you have adapt as needed, protect the mission, communicate change. And how the review works is once a quarter, you can do it more if you like, but once a quarter using a simple red, amber, green meaning you're not doing pretty well, and red meaning there's, we should probably focus on some improvement here. Amber is a little bit of both, right? You go through those 9 parts and you rate yourself. How well did you know the goal? Were you really, really clear on what the goal was? Did you actually know it? Make a path. Did you plan to get towards the goal or did you just raw dog it? There's no plan. You're just going to figure out what to do as you go or something in between. Take ownership. Did you know enough about the point of this goal for it to feel personal to you is probably a little bit strong, but to feel like you owned it, to feel like you are responsible for your part in it? Did you feel that connection or was it just another thing to tick off your list? Communicate change. Did you? Change happens in absolutely everything. How well did you communicate? How well did people communicate with you? Did you let people know that you understood and as a result you'll be doing X, Y, Z? How well did communication land during this period of time? Protect the mission. So people have tried to come in and change it or add to it or take bits off. How well did you protect it? Did you even need to? If you didn't have to protect the mission, why do you think that was? Were different stakeholders involved? If you did have to protect the mission, what did you do and how well did it work? Adapt as needed. Being able to adapt, obviously, we know is so helpful, necessary in a lot of cases. Could you have adapted earlier? Could you have tweaked something earlier? Or did you only make the change when you absolutely had to? What was the reasons? How could you have seen things earlier? Did you make a big enough adaptation? Or could you have gone smaller? Assess the situation. When you were first given this project, this task, did you look around it? Knowing the goal is different from assessing the situation. Did you look around it? What does this goal impact? What do you have available to deliver to this goal? Your time, cost, quality. What does that look like? People, process, technology. Did you truly assess the situation and its interactions with other things that you're dealing with? Networking with change makers. Not the exact same thing as communicating change. Actually rubbing shoulders, virtually or otherwise, with people who are stakeholders, key influencers that aren't key, helps because you get to learn a lot about how this project is affecting people on the ground. It's very linked to assessing the situation because it's reassessing the situation, but it involves other people. Because you can feed information to them and they can feed information to you. And then finally, review success and learning. This is part of that. What has gone well for you? What do you need to learn? What have you learned previously that helped you to deliver this quarter? Acknowledging what you've done well reinforces it. It embeds it. You know, our brains like habits. It really does embed it. And the chances of you remembering that lesson and applying it next time is so much higher. And you'll notice that I went through those things in a different order from what I read them out in the first place. And there's a reason for that, because there is no order. Obviously, you know, you might think you're starting with assess the situation and then knowing the goal. Those might seem like the obvious things, and in a lot of cases that they are, but all of the other things don't have a standard order. Why? Because in a lot of cases, you have to go back to things over and over and over again. You don't communicate change one time. You communicate change as needed. You don't usually have to protect the mission one time. You end up having to go back to it. And so that's why I did it like that on purpose. So for those of you listening, you can rewind this to listen to it again, but please go and look in the show notes where it will be listed out. And for those watching, you've seen it on the screen. And if you'd like to go through that with me more regularly, then please join me on the Sales Operations Leadership Skills course. Admissions open every quarter. This set of admissions, this round of admissions, will be closing this week. So come and visit us on the salesopseffect.com and do let me know if you've got any questions at all. Speak to you soon.